we are going to target this demo session is I'll show you what all Alteryx is about, what it all can do, and what you are going to learn in this entire session. So that is what I'm going to tell you. Talking about myself, I work as a BI consultant and trainer. So I have a total experience of 10 years working with different data technologies. I have worked with technologies like Alteryx, Tableau, Informatica Data Stage, and some big data technologies like working on Hadoop data platforms using Hive and stuff. That's total 10 years of experience. My areas of focus are mainly Alteryx and Tableau, and I take care of both development and administration part of it. So 7 years I have been working in these two technologies. I have worked with big clients like Accenture, BCG, Chase, and other top clients. Both as a consultant, I have done corporate batches for these companies. Myself, Alteryx Advanced certified developer, and also I'm certified in Alteryx Tableau. So that's about myself. Coming to the course outline, so basic description of the course, what we are going to cover. So this course is for both the beginners who are completely new to Alteryx and for the one who is already using Alteryx, like some basic tasks, doing some basic tasks in Alteryx, but want to step up their Alteryx skills. So for those also, we can use Alteryx. So both for the beginners and the intermediate level, we have this course is designed in such a way that it can help both beginners and intermediate level users. Coming to the requirements, you don't have any specific requirements. It's just basic computer knowledge and basic data understanding that you need to do. You need to have, and there's no such requirement of having any knowledge about any technology, language, or anything of that sort. As I said, this course is for both the completely newbies and for the one who are already working in Alteryx, because this can like 50% of the training is on the beginner level and 50% of the training is at intermediate level. So it combines both all the topics from both the areas. Duration of the course is usually we target to cover in 20 hours, but for any reason, like if you have more doubts or if there for all other reasons, it usually lasts 22 to 24 hours. But the entire schedule, entire course curriculum is designed in such a way that we will need at least 20 hours to cover it, and we can split those 20 hours depending on the candidates and the trainers availability. It can be 1 hour session daily on every weekday. It can be 2 hour sessions. So whatever works for the candidates and the trainer, accordingly we plan these sessions. Coming to the theory and practical split, so basically 20% of the entire training or 10% you can say is going to be the theory where we are going to cover and build some foundations like how Alteryx work and what are the different theoretical aspects are there, like understanding different functional areas, different concepts. So that is what we will cover as a 20% of the theory, and the remaining 80% of the entire training is going to be practical, where we will be learning different tools. Learning tools in Alteryx is like you have different components and you have to combine those components to create a job. So that is how Alteryx works. If I show you how Alteryx Designer looks like, so this is how the Alteryx desktop designer looks like. It is a Windows-based application, and we are going to create workflows. So this white area, we call it canvas. So you bring in different tools from the top. On the top, you have the tool palette. You just drag the tools as per the requirement, and you select what you want to build. So input data, whatever transformations you want to do, you add all those transformations, and finally, where once you have transformed your data, where you want to load it, you just put that output data tool. So this is a simple plain workflow where you are connecting to some input and then doing some data cleansing, doing some sampling, and then finally loading the output. Now, once you have created your workflow, like while you bring these individual tools, you also have to configure those individual tools. So this is the part that you have to do. So bring in the tool into the canvas, connect it in a sequence, like how you want the data to flow. So you start with an input, you need some data. For every tool, you have a configuration on the left. So you have to tell Alteryx what needs to be done. If you are connecting to an input, you have to tell Alteryx whether you are connecting to an Excel file, you are connecting to a database table. So that information you have to give here, but you don't have to write any code. So here is one tool called the data cleansing tool that helps you to clean your data. What all those cleaning steps are, so it can remove some unwanted characters like white spaces, numbers, punctuations, or any junk characters. So if you want to remove that kind of thing from your data as a part of the data cleansing, then you can simply just use this tool. You don't have to write any code or any formula like that. Same goes for there are various other tools, like if I talk about the filter. So you put a condition, so you give a configuration here for that particular tool, what you want to do, and Alteryx will do that for you. So this is what you have created here is called a workflow, and you can just simply go and save it like any other application you work with. So this is just a basic thing. This is how a Alteryx desktop designer look like, and how it basically functions. At the bottom, you have the results window where you will see all the failures, success, the data as well. Everything will be available within the results window. So you don't have to go anywhere outside of this tool or technology to look for logs or failure messages. Like other technologies, you have to go and search for the logs and all that stuff. Here, everything is within this application that you see here, which is available for desktop, Windows desktop. If you want to run it on Mac, then again you can do it using some parallel apps or some boot camp, something like that, where you can run Windows application on Mac OS. But mainly it is for the Windows. This is how the designer look like, and the entire training will be focused on learning how to use this designer to create the jobs, because this is what creates the job. The other aspect of Alteryx is the server side of it, where you just whatever you are creating using the designer, you just schedule it on the server, and server has their own specific resources and CPU and RAM, so it can run your job. So this is how basically it works. So you have a designer component, you have a server component. Designer component, what you see on my screen, we used to build the jobs to create the job, and the other thing you see the server, which you access through a web application. I will show you that in a moment. So that is what you use to schedule your workflows and see the past success and failures. For that, you can have a combination of both client and the server, where you're using the server for executing your jobs, scheduling your jobs, or you can just have the standalone client. You don't have a server component. If you don't have a server, then you are limited to your own desktop. So whatever you're running, it is going to utilize the RAM and CPU of your machine. uh, uh, if you are working with a server, so it is the server's resources that are going to be utilized. So this is basically how it works. You have a desktop client, you have a server. The client is everything what you see on my screen, and then server is accessed through a web application. Client is limited on the resources of what you have on your laptop, something like that. So this is how it works. More detail you will see when we actually go for the training. So as I said, we are going to cover the Alteryx Desktop Designer in detail, seeing how the tool palette works, how different configuration windows work. So if you have noticed, whenever I was clicking on different tools, the configuration window was changing accordingly. So this is a dynamic configuration window. Depending on what you have selected on the right side of the screen, accordingly it will change on the left. Then you have the favorites palette and the canvas, workflow canvas. So workflow canvas is nothing but this white area you see here, where you create your jobs, your workflows, and that is what we call canvas. So that is workflow canvas. What we are going to learn from this training, first thing is obviously in more detail about the Alteryx Desktop Designer, then how we can structure the data and using all these different tools. So now I'm just listing the different tools that we are going to use. And for every tool, you can find an example online, or you can just open an example from here. If you can open the example here and you can see there's a good amount of documentation available, then why you need this training? So this training will focus on how you can combine those different tools to actually solve a business problem. And you will have a lot of case studies as well when you go for this training. So these are all the different tools we are going to learn as a part of the training, how we can use these tools to process data, how we can join data from multiple sources, from databases and from Excel files and all different training sources. how we can handle data, like doing some data cleansing, creating some new fields out of some existing columns, doing some running totals, summarizing your data, so all that kind of stuff. Parsing your data using multi-row formulas, splitting your data into multiple columns, using regular expression and pattern matching to do all that stuff. Doing fuzzy matching, something like you have some incorrect data or something, like usually what happens, let's say if I give you a simple example, usually when you have salesmen and they are bringing customers to a company, so what they do to get more commission, they put the same person with different names, something like if I talk about my name, so a person might write my information or create a user in the system. Next we have is how to create basic reports using Alteryx. So Alteryx can do both, what wide variety of tasks can be done using Alteryx. One main area is data preparation and blending, where you are playing with data, doing some transformations, and then loading it. Apart from that, there are other areas as well where Alteryx can help you with. And one such area is that creating reports using Alteryx. So you can create PDF reports and Word documents and all different kinds of reports where you have charts, bar charts, line charts, and stuff. So if you want to create some basic visualizations, you can also do that in Alteryx. And these are static visualizations. So you will not have those interactions or capabilities to click on a report and then go to another report and of that sort. It is just basic static reports like you used to create in Excel, but now since you are preparing your data in Alteryx, so you can just make use of Alteryx to create those reports. If I show you a simple example of that report, what it looks like. So this is one such report created using Alteryx. Let me open it. Yeah, so this is one such report. You can see this is how the report created using Alteryx look like. So not just a data preparation tool, but also a reporting tool where you can create basic reports and then send it as an attachment to the business client. So you have the report header, you have the logo of the company, you have some table with some highlighting features with different conditions. Then you have a line chart for different companies. So this is how the reports look like, and this is in the PDF format. So you have all different formats available where you can create the reports. So this is also we are going to see one or two case studies on the creating reports. And then you have the spatial analysis. Spatial analysis is basically when you have to perform analytics around geographies. That's where the spatial analysis comes into picture. So this is another focus area of Alteryx, where you can use Alteryx. A simple example of spatial analysis is when you use Google Maps. You put in the from location to location, you give two locations, and then you can find out the distance between two locations, the travel time, and that kind of a sort. So what you are getting as an output from Google Maps is nothing but behind the scenes it is doing some spatial analysis or analytics. Google might use Python or any other language. We will see how we can use Alteryx to perform that spatial analysis, and how easy it is by using these simple tools and without writing any code. So that is also we are going to cover. Another example is, let's say you have five different stores and you have 100 customers. You have to distribute those 100 customers to these five different stores on the basis of their distance between the customer and the store. So if a customer is in within 5 miles of the store, then we will assign that particular customer to that particular store. So that kind of scenarios where on the basis of the location of the person, house or store, whatever it is, we are doing some analysis. That is where the spatial analysis comes in. Then there are different types of workflows in Alteryx, like creating analytical application where you don't open the entire workflow in Designer. You just have a basic UI, and then you can use that UI to create run your jobs, something like a basic calculator. So Alteryx can help you to create some basic user interfaces as well. So you don't have to open the workflow like this to run from this run button. You will have a simple pop-up window where you can interact with the application that you're trying to create. A simple example is like a calculator. Then there are some advanced areas. So these things that I'm talking about, the creating reports, spatial analysis, analytical applications, and then the macros. Macros is a major topic that we are going to cover here. There are different types of macros in Alteryx. Macros are basically nothing but same workflows, but with some advanced logic. Something like if you have to repeat the same process multiple number of times, or if you want to repeat the same process for different values. So for that kind of a situation, we make use of a macros. There are a lot of areas where you can use macros wherever you have repetitions or wherever you want to run the same logic for multiple values for different batches. That's where you use macros. It is not like your Excel macros where you are just automating a task like a flow. Here, it is something like you create one logic and then you want to repeat that logic a certain number of times. So that's what a macro in Alteryx. And there are different types of macros that we will cover when we go for the training. Then we are going to cover some basics of how to perform predicting and forecasting in using Alteryx. So if you have to do it in Python or R language, it is really complex. You have to write thousands of lines code to perform that. But in Alteryx, it is just some basic tools that you have to configure and you will get the output. So we will cover some basics around this because data science and prediction and forecasting is itself a huge topic. So what we are going to do is we are going to cover some basics, how you can make use of Alteryx to do and find out do predictions, some basic predictions. So that is something we are going to cover. And one thing I would like to clear, so we are not going to jump into all these regression model, individual models, how they work, how what is the mathematical functioning going behind these models, because we are skipping the technical part. We are jumping into the mostly the UI based training. So we will see how we can do all this, like perform linear regression using Alteryx, but we won't go into how the coding works without behind the scenes. So everything is done using R language, even in Alteryx. So Alteryx is using R language and creating some pre-packaged tools. You just use those tools directly to do the predictions that you are trying to do. So this is what we are going to cover. So we are going to see some time series examples and some regression techniques, and to find out which one is the best regression technique for your data. That is also we are going to see. So everything we will put on Alteryx, like tell me what all models I can use, then tell me which one is the best model to use. So what you used to decide or what you used to do by doing all these coding and stuff, we will just keep everything on Alteryx and ask Alteryx itself to tell me which is the best model and then use that model to make the predictions. And finally, we will wrap up with how we can schedule the jobs, what is the Alteryx gallery and the server components. We will cover a lot of questions from the certification. Basically, most of the case studies that you see are part of some basics and the advanced certification. So you have three level of certifications: basics, advanced, and expert. So this training focuses on majorly all the topics that are asked in the basics and the advanced certification. Now, after completing this training, you will be surely able to complete the basic certification. For the advanced certification, you need hands-on, but we are already covering all the topics that you need for the advance as well. So if you go through the training app and if you do good amount of hands-on, cover all the case studies that we are doing, then you should be prepared for the advanced certification as well. And for the expert, you need at least 2 to 3 years of experience working with Alteryx to get the expert certified. First two level are free, so you can give those tests any number of times with a 7 day gap in between two failure times. So that's how you can target getting certified as well. And along the way, I will be sharing some tips and tricks so that will help you with all your processes. So what you have seen so far is all different tools that we are going to cover. Now, for every tool, you can learn these tools yourself as well. Like if you click on any particular tool, you can open the tool and learn it. It is you have a lot of examples available here. Then why go for the training? You go for the training because how to approach a business problem. You will learn how to combine these different tools and solve a specific problem. We have a lot of case studies that we are targeting. So there are case studies on the basic data preparation. We have case studies on advanced data preparation. So these are few case studies that I'm showing. We have case studies on reporting, creating reports using Alteryx. We have case studies on spatial analysis, getting case studies on batch macro, iterative macro, time series, forecasting, predictive modeling. So these are all the case studies that we are going to cover. And then there are some basic data preparation workflows as well that I'm going to share with you, which you can practice. Those are basically the questions from the code certification exam, so you can practice those, and that's all about it. So that's the entire training. And coming to the market, it is really boosting market right now. So Alteryx is in high demand. these days, because first thing is it is easy to use. The learning curve is easy. Second thing is uh, and this is now getting famous because the time it takes to create a job in Alteryx is very less compared to any other technology. If you have to write a simple workflow in other technology, then it is going to take twice as much or maybe more to create a basic workflow than compared to Alteryx. So if you do it in Informatica or any other technology, it is difficult because Alteryx is not very like you can say strict on syntax, so it is really easy for new people to create and build in Alteryx. Thanks for joining. Have a good day. Bye bye.